Everybody, and welcome to the live show on a Sunday. There is a lot going on this week. We are going to be very, very busy being on the road, leaving tomorrow morning, heading off to San Diego. We're down in California for 3 days with Kia, test driving the Kia Niro, the hybrid, then the PHEV, the plug-in hybrid, and then the Niro full EV. So that's Monday to Wednesday. We're with Kia. Then we get the handover to Hyundai, and we're spending a couple of days with Hyundai in Los Angeles. So we're going up the coast from San Diego to LA, and we'll be at the Los Angeles Auto Show as a guest of Hyundai. So they're going to have a new vehicle that they're showing, and we're going to be covering as much as we can from the LA Auto Show. So our plan is to do these short little quick walk around videos of what's going to be shown and then upload them pretty much that day. So we're going to do that as best we can on press day, which is Thursday, and then we fly home on Friday. Okay, so a couple of things. Don't forget to go to canadadrives.ca. If you're looking for a used vehicle, you can search online, entirely get qualified online, do the purchase online, and then if you buy the vehicle, they deliver it to you often the very next day in a covered trailer. So that's all of Ontario, British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. And then we have carcostcanada.com. That's for brand new. If you're looking for a new vehicle, you go there and you find out what the real cost of the vehicle is to the dealer. That's why it's called Car Cost Canada. And use the promo code Motormouth, the name of the channel. And there you go. Okay, so we got all kinds of other things coming up. Because we're heading out of town this week, we get to get all the videos pre-done. They're already edited and ready to go. So coming out on Tuesday, we have a Questions, Coffee, and Cars. On Wednesday, we have the Range Rover, the full-size Range Rover First Edition. That's the video that's dropping on Wednesday. And then on Saturday, we're going to have the Nissan Armada video. And then also on Thursday and Friday, we're going to have videos live from the LA Auto Show. Okay, lots of pictures to get to today. So the first picture, if you want to get a picture in, you go to zack@motormouth.ca. That's the email. ZACK@motormouth.ca or ZACK@motormouth.ca if you're from the US. All right, the first question is one of two. This is from Danny. This is a BMW X5M competition. Now, that's no fooling around. That is a powerhouse machine. Not only does he have that, but also in the BMW family, he has a 2023 Mini Cooper full electric. So that's pretty cool. Well done. That looks like that looks somewhere in Vancouver. All right. The next picture. This is from Edward, who has got a Highlander Hybrid Limited. His wife picked it up in February. Took 3 months from ordering, paid list, but some dealers are asking $2,000 to $3,000 over list. They told us it was a year to get the hybrid version. It's the second Highlander they've owned. First one they had for 13 years. Not exciting, but bulletproof. I would agree with that. They are very well-made vehicles. And here's another Toyota. This is, we're going to find it. This is from Francisco. It's a 2022 SE manual. He bought it in August. A client canceled his order, so he didn't have to wait at all. They called and said, do you want it? They sold their Civic for more than they paid for it. Interesting. We were in Toronto at an event and we grabbed an Uber. We went out for dinner and we're drinking, so we had some wine, and then we needed an Uber to get back to the hotel. The guy picked us up in a Corolla manual. We were very impressed that he was driving stick as an Uber. This is from Scott. He sent in a couple of pictures of 911s. This looks like it's a 991. And then he's got a late 80s Carrera that he was out walking around and shot pictures. That looks really cool. Kind of rally inspired. The next picture is another 911. This is a Targa. This is Derek. Obviously, in the summertime, he actually picked up his Targa in Germany, in Zuffenhausen or Stuttgart, where they make them. This is a beauty. Check this out. This is a 1967 Shelby GT500. And this is from Richard. He goes on to say he ordered a 2022 Ford Maverick Hybrid XLT, received a VIN, and then the build date, and then it was canceled. So it's really tough getting cars out there. I understand that. This one is from Gord. It's an XC70. He said he got a GTI last year from Vancouver Island. It was a fun car, but he had so much snow in Winnipeg it was not suitable, scraping the bottom. So we got this Volvo XC70, which isn't sold anymore. And you know me, I love me some station wagons, so that is a cool ride. The next one is from Gene. Upgraded his 2018 Chevrolet Volt to the 2022 Lexus 450h Plus Executive. A few things he misses from the Volt, but the ride is really nice. Drove from Ottawa to New York. Average fuel economy was 6.7 liters per 100 kilometers. That's pretty good. We've got more, don't worry. This is from Munch, I think is the name. It was hard to read the email address with a Kia Forte. Thanks for the picture. And have we got one more? Oh yeah, this is from Lewis. Jeep Grand Cherokee Altitude 2021. After 15 months, absolutely trouble-free. That generation of Grand Cherokee is really good. Excellent product. I've told many, many people to buy the Grand Cherokee. We have to wait a little bit on the new one. As you know, new vehicles often have some issues, but there you go. All right. If you just have to get a question into the show, you can always do a super chat if there's something you want to get asked. All right, let's get into the questions. Always first each week. Sanjeeb from Montreal, any plans to get your hands on a Jeep Wrangler 4xE? We did the Jeep Wrangler 4xE last summer. I think it was summer. So there is a video of it on the channel. There's a $5,000 rebate in Quebec. He goes on to say, are you going to do the Subaru Legacy all-wheel drive? And you're doing an Infiniti Q60 Red Sport. Probably the Subaru, probably not the Infiniti when we get our hands on it. This is from Webb. Hey, Zach, what are your initial impressions of the Accord? Do you think Honda made a mistake launching 5 models in a span of 18 months? Product line might get boring by 2024. Yeah, they have had a lot of new products in the Honda world. So was it a year ago or was it a year and a half ago? They brought out the Civic. Then this year they brought out the HR-V. Then they brought out the CR-V. Now they just unveiled the Honda Accord and they just unveiled the Honda Pilot. So those are 5 mainline cars all within 18 months. And 3 of them, or 2 of them I should say, we haven't even seen yet in person. That's the the Accord and the Pilot. Now, I don't have a picture of the Pilot. If I'd known you were going to ask that question, I would have downloaded a picture of it. So they just released the Pilot. I'm getting confused. The Accord this week. And I got to tell you, the styling of it is really quite conservative, like very conservative. Looks a little Volvo-esque to me, but you know what? We'll have to wait and see. More hybrid options, which is good. People are going to want that. But you know what? The Accord is a great seller. In the mid-size space, it's Accord and Camry and then everybody else. So those two battle it out for supremacy. But even in that category, it's diminishing sales because people are loving SUVs. Hey, Zach, do you know when Mazda is coming with more hybrid cars? They have said officially that the CX-50, the one we drove at the beginning of the year in the spring, will be coming as a hybrid. They said it would be later this year. Looks like it's now going to be the beginning of next year, but that will be a hybrid. This is Malcolm from next door in Alberta, and he says, go Lions. Yeah, the BC Lions are playing. It doesn't look very good. The Buffalo Bills game today, that was a crazy ending to the game. I mean, yeah, the Bills didn't win, but man, what a game. That was fantastic. Do you think we can have a Taos hybrid anytime soon? No, I don't think they're going to do a hybrid. Volkswagen has made it perfectly clear. They've made a commitment to going electric, so their plans are to go electric. Taos will make its run as a conventional gas model. I don't think there's any plans for hybrid. And then eventually that size of vehicle, whether it's a Tiguan or a Taos, will be replaced by a full electric vehicle. Hey Zach, any changes for the 2023 Subaru Crosstrek outdoor model? Still a favorite of yours? Thanks. Yes, a big fan of the Crosstrek. Rumor has it there is going to be a Subaru unveiling at the LA Auto Show. A lot of people are saying it's Impreza. There's a lot of chatter about Crosstrek as well. So yes, typically Subaru doesn't do major changes to the vehicles. If it's new, it'll not be heavily different from the one we have now, but we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be unveiled this week. So if it's going to be the Impreza or it's going to be the Crosstrek at the same time, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, big fan of the Crosstrek, especially with the 2.5 liter. Thoughts on the new C63? Well, I think it's amazing technology. If you're not aware, Mercedes-Benz with the AMG, the C63 used to be a twin-turbo V8. Well, that's gone. Now it's a Turbo 4 with a hybrid system that creates more power, more torque, more cowbell. So we'll have to wait until we get a chance to drive it, but there you go. Here's Eric. Sorry about the Bills. Well, the season's not over. It was a great game, and there were some amazing plays by Minnesota. I mean, it was just an amazing game. What's your thoughts on a used 2010 to 15 Lexus IS 350 or 250 or 350 convertible? I think it's a hidden gem. Yeah, it is a wonderful, reliable product, not particularly big. So if you're just using it as a single person or a couple, there would be no problem with that. You're right. It's really quite unique with the convertible or the retractable hardtop. And nothing really much like it out there. I mean, you could say they're, like a 4 Series BMW. But the nice thing about what you're doing is shopping in the older vehicles. So these are now 12 years old, soon to be 13 years old if it's a 2010. They're very, very reliable. Like very reliable. So please, even though it's a Lexus and it's very reliable, get it inspected. Make sure it hasn't been abused. Make sure all the maintenance has been done. But yeah, you can shop in the Lexus IS world from when they first were introduced all the way up to recently and shop and find some really nice gems out there that are very, very reliable. What are your thoughts on the Honda Pilot? So same thing again. I probably should have downloaded some of the pictures. So the Pilot was just unveiled this week along with the Accord. It looks a lot like a cross between the new CRV and maybe like a Grand Cherokee. They've got the new Trail line, which is going to be more off-road ready. All of the images were of that blue one, and the video they had was of that one doing off-road stuff. Listen, not very many people are buying these 3-row SUVs to go off-road. I'm not sure why they so heavily focused on that, but you know what? It's still the same drivetrain, 3.5 liter V6 and a conventional automatic transmission. So we'll have to wait until we get our hands on it. But you know what? The problem Honda has are two things. Their in-dash technology is really kind of not in step with the market. So the base model screen on the new Pilot is a 7-inch head unit. Think about that. 7 inches. We have a 2017 Honda Civic with a 7-inch head unit in it. You've got Kia and Hyundai with 12.3-inch head units. I mean, it's just not what people are looking for. So that's one thing. And then the price. I mean, they've put up the price so much of the HRV and the CRV. What's the Pilot going to be? Is it going to be crazy money? We're going to have to wait and see. All right, let's get into our first super chat. There's James. Just love your reviews these days. Amazing format. How far back of a 911 would you have to go to choose the new Z over the 911? Well, you're talking about the new Z, I should say, the Nissan Z. Come in, hello.
It's an 8-point game now.
It's an 8-point game? How much time's left?
2:40 left.
Who has possession?
The Blue Bombers. But it can go quick.
All right,
now.
Jack, if the Lions win, come in and tell us. If you're in Winnipeg, you're cheering for the Blue Bombers. But oh, by the way, if you're in the United States, yes, we have Canadian football. It's the Canadian Football League, the CFL, and it's our Western final, and then they go to the oldest cup game in all of North America is the Grey Cup. So we've got two of the oldest cups are in Canada. The Grey Cup, I believe, is the oldest, and then the next one is the Stanley Cup. Of course, we all know that one. But from what I understand, the America's Cup is maybe the oldest, but that's for sailing. But a pro sort of football, hockey, baseball, all of that, the Grey Cup is like really, really old. It was originally a rugby for rugby, and then they moved it to Canadian football. So anyway, it's good that the Lions are in this final anyway. All right, so how far back would I have to go? Of a 911, would you have to go to choose the new Z over a 911? I would say probably I would go back to the 964. Those are the early 90s cars. And the ones they use for the Singer. So if you know the Singer Porsches or the inspired by Singer, they use a 964 chassis. And one of the reasons is those old 911s are kind of neat to look at, and they're nice to own to say you've got one, but they're really not powerful, and they're really not that dynamic to drive compared to exactly what you're saying, the new products like the new Nissan Z. I would say a 964 would be it for me. Here's John Burke. Have you heard anything about the new 2023 Toyota Prius Prime? Isn't it due for a redesign? All I'll tell you on that one is stay tuned. The LA Auto Show is this week. Thursday is Media Day. And there might be a Prius this week. We'll have to wait and see. Might be. All right. And if there is, we'll put a quick video out on it. And we'll tell you the backstory of that if and when it shows up. Here's Alec, 2023 Seltos EX front-wheel drive plus winter tires. A good pick for the GTA. Absolutely. Listen, buy a high-quality winter tire from a reputable brand, brands you know of, like, Bridgestone, Michelin, Pirelli, Toyo, Hankook, Yokohama. A major one is Nokian. Really good quality winter tires, and you put that on a Kia Seltos, I don't think you'd have any problem getting around in Toronto in the wintertime. It's a major city. They clear the snow quite quickly. The biggest thing about driving in the winter is the tires, so that's good. You're going to invest in a good set of winter tires. And also, you got to drive to the conditions. Use your brain, and you'll be just fine. I grew up in Toronto back in the day when it was rear-wheel drive large sedans, and we got around. And then it was front-wheel drive little cars like Civics were, coming out. And then all-wheel drive has only been something that's been prominent here in the last 15 or 20 years. And before that, everybody got around just fine. And the tires weren't nearly as good. Plus, cars didn't have traction and stability control, and that Seltos will have all of that. So I wouldn't worry about that. Another super chat. This is from Jim. Dealers in California have a market adjustment of $75,000 on the Lexus LX600. How long do you think that will last? I am really watching what's happening with the overall general economy. I've read several articles now where they're talking about the used car prices have turned in the United States and car values are going down for used. That's an indicator that the market is starting to turn over. And there are some dealerships with inventory that's starting to come back. So if the economy starts to slow down in a marked way, interest rates are having a major impact on big ticket purchases like homes. We've already seen a major reduction in transactions for homes. And the second biggest purchase, it's a car. So used vehicles are showing this first because used cars are financed through banks or other lenders at much higher rates typically than you would get on a brand new car. New cars often they have the interest rates reduced to entice you to buy. So what I think is going to happen as the interest rates continue to creep up here over the next few months, that there's going to be people who maybe ordered cars and they've started to come in, and we're getting reports. People are sending us notices saying we're getting a quoted of 8 and 9% on a new car. That's a lot of money every month you're paying in interest. So I think it's going to dampen the enthusiasm for new cars. With a Lexus LX, that's a different kind of snack bracket. People are buying those, aren't as affected by interest rates, but you never know. I mean, just generally, the whole thing has got to cool down. And as it starts to cool down, hopefully inventories will start to build up and these shenanigans will go away. And they really are shenanigans. I mean, dealers have a reputation for being, douchey for a reason. Because that's just, I can't believe that. First of all, dealers, do these douchey moves and charge $75,000 over MSRP. But I want to meet the schmuck who actually pays that. Like, who's the moron that is going to pay $75,000 over list for a Lexus LX? I mean, it's a nice vehicle, but it ain't worth 10 grand over list. Another super chat. Martin Hitchcock. Thoughts on the 2022 Mustang GT or wait for the 24 model? I'm not loving the new look. I got to tell you. I think that the new one is going to be fantastic. I mean, it's going to drive great. It's going to have a better interior. That's good. I just don't like the look of it. It looks too like it's trying too hard. It looks kind of like a cross between a Ford Mustang, Chevy Camaro, and a Hyundai Elantra at the back. I don't know. But man, they drive great. I mean, they're just amazing cars. So, Mustang GT, listen, there's nothing wrong with you getting a current GT, driving it for 2 or 3 years, see what's going on with the new one, and then upgrade or downgrade, depending on which way you look at it. Okay, those were super chats. If you just have to get your question answered, you can do that through a super chat. Here's Lap. Do you see 911 997 turbo manuals coming down in pricing? It could. Listen, there could be a correction in the marketplace. I would have to call my friend Cornelius from Core Motor Cars. I've done a lot of videos with Core lending me his inventory. The Porsche world is... Here's the thing about Porsche. There are more eyeballs on the brand than ever before, right? So there's a whole generation of up-and-coming young people, especially millennials and money, and they want to buy a 911. Well, when you have more people with their eyeballs on the brand, then there's more opportunity for the price to go up because there's just not that many good used 911. Well, there's lots of good used 911s, but they're just not that many for sale. So you have more people looking at these cars than you actually have the price go up. So same thing again. The economy slowing down. There was a lot of these young guys made money in Bitcoin. We've seen what's happened with that in the last week. So maybe there's some tarnishing in their bank account. We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. But yes, we could see the prices come down a little bit, but they might just stay flat. I would need to get Core on the phone to ask him, but the long bet is a 997 turbo manual is seen as the last 911 manual turbo. That is never going to change. You have the last 911 turbo manual. So if you can find a nice one and you keep it for a long period of time, it will always be worth what you paid for it and probably worth more. All right. We have another super chat. Hope I say this right. Maylene? Here's your question here. Is it worth $50,000 for a Highlander Limited? Thanks. Oh, that... I can tell you that the prices of the mid-size SUVs, so that's the 3-row mid-size SUVs, have come up quite a bit. So we just did Telluride. Perfect example is this vehicle. So the Telluride came out in 2020. That's 2 model years ago. This is the 2023. When that vehicle was introduced, it was $46,000 in Canada. The middle trim, which was nicely equipped, was just under 50, and then the top trim was 53. Well, what's happened is now the price has all gone way up. That middle trim that I mentioned used to be just under 50 is now 55, and the top trim is 60. Okay, so we're seeing prices go up. And I would say same thing. It's not to the same extent as a 911, but the Toyota Highlander Hybrid is really kind of like money in the bank. There's always going to be someone that wants that car because it's so efficient and it's so well made and it's very durable and reliable, and there's just a built-in market for it. So yes, it's not cheap. Yes, 50,000 is a lot of money, but it's a good position to be in owning a Highlander Hybrid. You're going to be able to drive that car. You're going to look after it, make sure it's maintained, and all of that kind of stuff. And when you want to trade it in or when you want to sell it, there will be a long list of people who want to buy that from you. So a Highlander Hybrid, just like a 911 turbo manual, is never a bad buy. There's always going to be people that want them. So wouldn't that be a nice garage? 911 turbo manual and a Highlander Hybrid. One to get the groceries, one to take off for the weekend. So I know it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. $50,000 for a car is a lot of money, but it's a pretty safe bet with the Highlander. Is it worth it? That comes down to your finances. Okay, we'll go up to the top again. How is the 2-liter on the Civic? Is it lacking? No, it's fine. Isn't that funny? We have a 2-liter Honda Civic. It's fine. It's not earth-shattering. It's really good in the city. I will tell you that it's been very well calibrated for urban driving. So getting up and away from a traffic light or a stop sign, it actually does a good job. The continuously variable transmission works really well. It's when you get on the highway and you're wanting to pass a truck or do a really fast acceleration on an on-ramp, something like that, it's not a powerhouse. You got to plan your moves quite in advance, right? But in the city as an urban car, it's actually very well done. How are they charging $70K of markups for a 2023 Civic Type R? Like I said, I want to meet the schmuck that will pay that. I mean, it's one thing to charge huge over MSRP for a Civic Type R, but I want to meet the bozo that's going to pay it. That's what I want to meet him and go, what are you thinking? Just heard the EX90 from Volvo. Can't wait for it. So that's the full-size electric Volvo. Yeah, we can't wait to get our hands on it either. Here's Harpreet. Hi, Zach. Can you talk about the road tax for electric vehicles? I don't know about the road tax for electric vehicles. Are you talking about weight? Not sure what you mean by that. There is going to be a time, jurisdiction by jurisdiction, that there's going to be a tax either on EVs because of weight or just because they have to get money out of the motorists because they're losing all of that money on gas sales. You know, a huge component of taxation at the state or provincial level in each country in Canada and the United States is fuel. So if you're juicing up with electricity, they're missing out on that money. So they're going to have to make it up somewhere. I don't know the specifics of what you're talking about, but it's going to come. A tax man will come for your electric car too. Hey, looking at a 23 Genesis G70 versus the Cadillac CT5V. I love them both, but I can order the G7 in matte gray. Well, listen, if it was me, it would be hands down the Cadillac. That is a special car. The CT5V is a special car. It's just wonderful. Twin turbo. Now, it's been a few months since we've driven one, or a year, I should say. Twin turbo, 6-cylinder, 10-speed automatic, dynamic chassis control, Brembo brakes, electronic limited slip rear differential. What else am I missing? All-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. Beautiful interior. Hell of a car. Love it. You're not getting any, well, you're getting Brembo brakes with the G70. You're getting the turbo V6, not the same engine as that Cadillac. The Cadillac is special. That is a special car. Here's Eric again. Wish more mainstream automakers added heated and cooled cup holders. Seems like an easy feature to integrate. I agree with you. It's a great feature. First vehicle I ever drove that had it was Mercedes-Benz. I believe it was the GLE. It's a wonderful thing. So if you're not aware, you have your cup holders in the front and you put your water bottle in. There's a little button there. You push it and it turns blue. It actually keeps your water cool. You push the button and the light goes red, then it keeps your coffee warm. And when you're on a long road trip, it's fantastic. And you're right. It doesn't seem like it would take that much to do it, but I would love to see it in more cars. I'm trying to remember what other brands. Mercedes is the one I remember because it was the first one. You should switch it up and make Andrea do the live show. No, that would be fun. Andrea doesn't have any interest in doing that. We do our Questions, Coffee, and Cars episode coming out on Tuesday. So there you go. Is it smart to buy a new car that is a depreciating asset? Well, in the last 2 years, they haven't depreciated much. They've actually gone up. Now, that is totally bucking the trend, and it's really not the case most of the time. But I would say either you jump in and just accept the fact or buy a used car. But there's no, the thing is a used car depreciates too. No way around it. When you buy a car is that you are going to lose money over the long haul unless it's a unique and special car, which has always been my thing. Whenever I've bought cars, I've always bought things that were different and unique or not that common. So when I went to sell it, there was always people that wanted it. We had a BMW 5 Series station wagon, the very first 5 Series station wagon that was brought into North America. We had one of those. When I went to sell it, there was one for sale in the whole country. I had it, and everybody that wanted to come and barter on the price, I said, no, there's one for sale. It's there if you want it. This is what I charge. Eventually, someone came and bought it for what I paid for it. So I didn't lose money on that one, or a little bit. I had a BMW M6. Another car, it was one of 35 that were sold in Canada. I sold that. I had two air-cooled 911s, really quite rare. One I sold for way more than I paid for it. The other one I got all of my money back. I just sold a Toyota Tacoma pickup truck, rare one, manual transmission, 4-cylinder. Made more money on that than I paid for it. I've had a bit of a good eye for looking for vehicles that I know people are going to want when they're used. So if you have that same kind of idea in mind, you can find vehicles that are kind of different. And there might not be a big group of people that want it, but there will be a strong community. So there you go. Can PHEVs be charged at 120 volt outlet, or do they require 240? That's one of the great things, Chris, about a PHEV. So we'll pick some of the big ones out there, like a RAV4 Prime, the Tucson, the Sportage or Sportage plug-in hybrids. The great thing about them is they use just 120 volt regular plug. Because the batteries are much smaller than a full EV, we're talking around 13 kilowatts up to 20 kilowatts for the new Outlander PHEV. So if you plug it into your garage and leave it, from 7 o'clock at night, time for dinner, whatever, and then you get up and go to work in the morning, it'll be fully charged every single day. And this is particularly handy for people who live in apartment buildings or condo complexes. If you have access to scavenge some just regular wall power, you can charge your PHEV. With an EV, you can do it with 120, but it takes way too long. You really need to have 240 volts for a pure EV, but that's one of the great things about PHEVs. One of the reasons why we like them a lot is you don't have to have an electrician coming to your house. You don't have to have any of that magic going on. You just plug it into the regular wall outlet. And perfect example, my mother-in-law has a Hyundai Tucson PHEV. They plug it in with the regular wall, and they're being absolutely thrilled. They barely buy gas. Okay, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Oh, here's Scott. You sent in a picture of the 911s. Thanks, Scott. Word in the Mustang community is the current S550 Mustang is peak tunability. X650, these are the chassis names for the new model, not tunable because Ford over-the-air updates will override. Now, I guess the way that the community is going to get around that is to disconnect the connectivity. If you think about it, it's just a SIM card, right? Or it's the ability to connect to a Wi-Fi, like if you park in your garage, you connect to your home Wi-Fi. So what you could do is just disconnect that part of it, tune the engine. Ford doesn't know, or it just doesn't connect to their cloud. So that's one way they could do it. But I mean, Scott's a perfect guy to talk about this because he has a current Mustang GT, a beautiful one, and what he thinks of the new one. Because I like the idea. I know it's going to drive great, but I just don't like. I'm not loving the looks of it. Here's Greg picking up on what we were just talking about. Some states are charging a large yearly registration fee for EVs to replace the lost gas tax. Yeah, I mean, they just can't give up the money. They're going to get it somehow, right? All right, where were we? Where were we? Where was we? I'll go down to the bottom and see if Scott types in a second here. All right. Are used car prices really going down? In what way are they going down? Well, what's happening is what I'm seeing and the stories that I get. So first of all, I read Automotive News, and it's a subscription model. Anybody can subscribe, but it's not inexpensive, and it's more for people in the industry. So articles there, I'll give you the Cliff Notes. Basically, the wholesale prices of used cars are coming down. Now, that might not have filtered into the actual retail lots, meaning they haven't passed on those savings to the consumer yet. And then I also get emails from Canadian Black Book every week. And the same thing is happening in Canada. The wholesale prices of used cars is starting to come down. Now, that has not flowed through probably to your lot where you are. But the one thing you've got to remember is the dealers that have cars on their lot now maybe had to buy them, 2 or 3 months ago when the prices were really, really high. And the cars they're buying now are at lower prices. So they don't want to discount those existing models because they could potentially lose money on them. So just know that time is on your side. If you are in the market for a used car, the prices will start to slowly come down. Okay, we have some more super chats here. Appreciate that. Here's one. Chevy Bolt or Prius Prime? Well, you're talking about a plug-in hybrid that doesn't get really particularly great range. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember, it was around 30 kilometers, not that much. Like I said, this week, they're going to be, could be, showing the new Prius, but we'll have to wait and see what any changes are about that. In my opinion, I've been on record saying this since it was updated last year. The Chevy Bolt, in my opinion, is one of the biggest car deals out there. General Motors dropped the price when they introduced the model last summer. So they introduced the 2022 Chevrolet Bolt at a new lower starting price. Then there was a recall on the battery. They're replacing batteries on the older models, and the new ones that are for sale now, all of that has been fixed. So you could order one from your Chevy dealer and it would be updated, and I have no problem recommending it. It is a wonderful product. On top of that, in the United States, they dropped the price another $5,000 roughly. The price of a Bolt in the US is $25,000. Okay? That gets 250 miles of EV range, or 400 plus kilometers. It comes really nicely equipped. It's got amazing in-dash tech. It's a good footprint. Now, it's not, super luxurious or anything, but I mean, think about the price of the thing. It's just amazing. Now, the reason they didn't drop the price in Canada is because we get the rebates in Canada for the Bolt. So you're going to get $5,000 off because it's an electric car. And then if you're in a province, now most provinces outside of Ontario offer a rebate as well. So you're going to get anywhere from 5 to maybe 8, or I don't know what it is in Quebec. Basically, they buy you the car in Quebec. So yeah, if it was me right now and I haven't seen the new Prius, it would be the Bolt. Okay. I haven't seen it. I haven't. My T-Bird. Hey, wait a second. Greetings, support for a very informative show. I thought you were in Hawaii. My T-Bird sent me a picture on the way to Hawaii. So, I mean, I guess you're watching, sitting on the lanai, having a fruity drink, which sounds like fun to me. You know, Andrea and I started, I don't really ever talk about the shows we're watching. We're watching this series. I think it's called White Orchid. It's a crazy show. It's about this hotel. The first series is about this hotel in Hawaii, and all the craziness that goes on in this hotel. Anyway, if you're up for it, have a search for that. It's kind of a whack show. Here's another super chat. Hi, Zach. Do you think it's worth ordering a 23 Ford Escape hybrid? How reliable are Ford's hybrids? I hear the 22 have engine issues and are being recalled. So it's interesting you bring this up because Andrea just looked this up the other day because we did our top 5 compact SUVs. The video went out just this past week. I'm a huge fan of the Ford Escape, the hybrid, the plug-in hybrid. I think they did a great job in it. The 23 is the one you want. It gets, I'm not sure if you've seen pictures of it. Yeah, White Lotus is the name of the video. Someone else just wrote here. They changed the headlamps. They did a facelift on it. They made the opening at the front a little square. It doesn't look as rounded and like a clone of the Cayenne. Same thing for the back. They did new tail lamps, and then they updated the head unit to get better connectivity and bigger screens. So the research that Andrea did has shown that the hybrid has improved in terms of quality since it was first introduced, the current model a few years ago. So I'm a big fan of it. There are no guarantees in life, but what you could do some research on it. I think it's a great product. It drives really well, and it's really well done. Here's Greg. Yeah, the show. What did I say? It was White Orchid. Yeah, it's White Lotus. Yeah, White Lotus is the show. Crazy show, but kind of fun. All these crazy characters. I like shows like that. You don't know what's going to happen. All right. Where was I here? Oh, by the way, I just saw this question. Old Dog was saying about the CT5V. If you get the CT5V, you have to send a picture in. We got a picture, I'd say about a month ago. Someone waited a year to get their CT5V in his bright blue. It looks like the blue you get on the Porsche 911. Really cool car. All right. Hi, Zach. Kia dealers are now charging market adjustments up to $10,000 Canadian without hiding the name of it in writing. Looks like Kia Canada is allowing them to do it. I'm really disappointed. You know what I'm disappointed in? You know, these are independent business owners, right? So the car company has only so much control. They set the manufacturers, remember that, manufacturers' suggested retail price. Now the dealers are supposed to charge MSRP and not have any add-ons. The problem is they've pushed it and it hasn't been challenged by their governing body. So this is in Canada. In each province, there is a regulatory body that governs dealers. So I'm hearing this more in Alberta. I'm getting feedback from people saying they're seeing this in Alberta. And somebody sent me a picture of the car with the price adjustment listed clearly on there. So this is all I've heard from Alberta, is that it's obvious to me that the regulatory body that's supposed to govern the dealers to make sure that they don't do this is not doing that. And the dealers now know that and have run amok and are just doing these kinds of practices. Not seeing it so much here where I live in British Columbia, we have a different regulatory body. So each jurisdiction has a dealer group that regulates what dealers are supposed to be. I'm getting more and more feedback from people saying they're seeing this, which makes me believe that the dealer bodies have given up. And I just think that's sad because they're not supposed to do that. Not sure what we can do about it, but there you go. You know how you get around it? You vote with your wallet. You don't buy their car. Don't give them the money. Say, I'm here. When phone them up and say, hey, you've got a blah 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 for sale. Hey, when you want to sell it at the regular price, let me know. I'm a buyer. If things go sideways in the economy and they're starting to slow down, it'll be interesting to see what happens. If they get theirs, as they say. Here's Old Dog again with another super chat. Thanks for the answer on the GV70 CT3V. I'm a Chevy guy at heart, and being in Grand Prairie, Alberta, I have a Cadillac dealer. CT5 for the win. Thanks. Man, that is a special car. I'll go through it again. If you don't know what this is, the CT5V is their mid-size sedan that is just, I love the styling of it. I like Cadillacs. I think Cadillacs look great. And the engine is just wonderful. Amazing automatic transmission that just shifts like this. Magnetic ride control. This is something that you would get like in a Corvette. Brembo brakes is standard equipment. Big ass brakes. And then you got the electronic limited slip rear differential. So the suspension, the engine, the transmission, the differential, the way it drives, and the sound of it, great car. By the way, in 2021, we chose it. Was it 2021? Was it last year? No, 2020. We chose it as our car of the year. We liked it that much. It was the one car we both agreed that. Here's an interesting thing about our line of work is we get 2 new cars to drive every week. So we drive about 100 different cars a year. So we drive them and then we give them back and blah, blah, blah. We move on. There are not that, you'd be surprised about this. There are not that many cars that we just don't want to give back. Like we drive them, we appreciate them for what they are. We do our work with them and then we give them back. We go, okay, that was nice. We move on to the next one. It happens only like 3 or 4 times a year where you take the car back and you're like, man, I just love this car. I don't want to give it back. I would love to have it. And the CT5V was one of those cars. Okay, where are we now? Okay, got to go back up to the top. If you guys could give me a thumbs up, that'd be great. There's over 400 people on board and 113 thumbs up. It helps. Everything helps. It all helps. All right, I got to find where I was. Rico, which one is a better buy? A 2020 BMW 340 or a 219 S5 Sportback? Thanks and keep up the great work. These are both nice cars. I like the S5 Sportback, but the BMW 340 is special because it has the inline twin turbo V6. That is same thing. That is a special engine. You will never regret buying that car. Make sure it's inspected. See if you can get what's called a certified pre-owned warranty. Might be able to still qualify for the extended warranty. But if it was me, between the two, actually the 2020 BMW should still have regular warranty and then get it under the CPO if you can. There you go. BMW. Is the new Telluride you just reviewed worth the upgrade from the exact one you reviewed last year? 2021 Night Sky. No, I don't think it's worth the upgrade. I mean, they're both great products. Comes down to what you like. I mean, the big difference is the aesthetics on the outside have changed just slightly. So they did a classic facelift and they redid the lights at the back. So on the outside, it doesn't look much different. The main thing is the daytime running light cluster. That's different. It's the inside. So you're getting the new tech, you're getting the new dash, you're getting the new double instrument cluster. Now, with the top trim, those Night Sky models with the upper trims, is it worth it? I I mean, if you have one, you're going to trade it in for the new one. I'd say no. But if you're going to buy one, the new one definitely has more tech and it's got more stuff in it. So, but it's more expensive. So it really comes down to budget. If you think that you have enough money for the current model, go for it. They're both great. Same thing. Telluride is a great product to buy because the demand is so high for them. They're holding their value really quite well. You could buy one, drive it for a couple of years, and then flip into the new one, and you'd probably do okay on it. Here's Evan from New York City. Looking forward to your take on the LA Auto Show in the new Prius Kia Niro, going to test drive the Niro HEV SX model. Top time to go green again. I'm not sure what all that means. But anyway, you're right. We're going to be in LA. We're driving the Niro. We'll see what other cars are at the LA Auto Show. But there you go. There's some new technology cars that are coming in, which is great. What are your thoughts on the GMC Acadia AT4? I believe there will be a redesign coming for 2024 model year. Should I wait or look at another 5-seat SUV now? The Acadia is an interesting product because it's not the same size as its like Chevrolet cousins, right? It's a nice size. It's more in line with the Cadillac XT6 in terms of size, and they did it intentionally to make it more maneuverable, especially for urban dwellers. So you get that 3-row availability, but it's not nearly as big as the Chevy Traverse. And when we drove it, we really liked it. Is there going to be an update? I don't know off the top of my head, but there you go. I mean, I enjoyed it when I drove it. Please provide your opinion on the 2023 Outlander, Mitsubishi versus RAV4 Prime versus Kia Sportage or Sportage. Okay, so the Mitsubishi Outlander has the largest battery at 20 kilowatt hour. The RAV4 Prime is 18, I believe, and the Kia Sportage is just under 14. So it has the biggest battery, but it doesn't get the greatest range. And Mitsubishi seems like they've taken that extra power and put it into the drivability. The good news is, in 2 weeks, I believe it is, we are going to get our hands on it to drive it. We've only had our hands on it to shoot the outside and the inside. We were not allowed to drive the car. In a couple of weeks, we're going to get that opportunity. 3 weeks, maybe. So wait until we get a chance to drive it. From what I understand, they've taken some of the energy from the battery and put it into making it more dynamic to drive by ginning the electric motors to make it more responsive, to make it handle better, all those sorts of things. So that is definitely a plus. So it might not have the range of the RAV4 Prime, but it might be a better driving vehicle. We'll have to wait until we get our hands on it. If you look at the Kia versus the Prime versus the Outlander, the Kia does not have one key thing that really needs to be updated when they refresh it, and that is a heat pump. In areas where it gets cold, hello Canada, northern United States, the gas engine is coming on a lot more often to help generate heat in the cabin. And so in the wintertime, the economy isn't as good. You get it into fair weather, spring, summer, fall, temperature's perfect. The gas engine barely comes on. So the advantage of the Outlander over, I'm trying to remember the Prime. Pretty sure with the Prime too. The Outlander can take a DC fast charger. I'm not sure the Prime can do that. And the Sportage certainly can't. So that's one thing the Outlander has in its favor, is that you can put it onto a DC fast charger and charge that 20 kilowatt hour battery really quickly. So wait a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, and we'll get our hands on it to drive it. Can't wait, by the way. Whatever happened to driving television? So I used to be the host of Driving TV, and the show ended almost 3 years ago. I could be here for an hour telling you just about driving TV. Put it this way, the show's not around anymore, and I miss working with, the guys I used to work with, but no, I don't miss the guy who owned the show. He was a piece of work. We'll just leave it at that. We have some more super chats here. Level 70. Have you heard anything on Honda's turbo engine wastegate issues? Ever heard this is an expensive repair and it happens out of warranty? I don't know that one. I know about the oil dilution issue where fuel gets into the oil. Honda claims they've rectified that, but no, I haven't heard about that one. YA did a super chat. Appreciate that. Oh, you have a question here. SUV 55 to 65 US for a family of 4, hoping to keep it for 5 years. For a family of 4, well, at that price range, 50 to 65, there's a lot of vehicles that you could buy for sure. I mean, you could get an Audi Q5, which is a great product. You could get a BMW X3. If you want to go mainline, you could get like a hybrid or something like. You know what? I would get like the Lexus RX 350h, the hybrid Lexus. That's a really nice product and isn't crazy expensive. All right. So I would look at the Lexus, and if that's not big enough, then maybe the new RX. Okay, where was I here? Up we go. All right. Sorry, guys. I got to figure out where it was. West Coast. Your thoughts on the new 4Runner is being delayed again. Heard maybe 2025. Well, nothing official has been announced about that product. Any thoughts on what Toyota Grand Highlander will be like? Compete with the Palisade Telluride? I think it's going to be just, to be honest with you, just packaging. More amenities. Here's Greg. He's a Vikings fan. Well, congrats. That was one hell of a game. Wristwatch check. Any plans on visiting the auto show in February? I guess you're in Toronto. This is a Tudor Submariner from the 1990s with the Mercedes hands on it. I just put it on the bracelet today. I was wearing it on a sort of a pearl-on strap, and I put it on the bracelet because I'm going to take this one with me to California this week. So this is one of my favorites. So it's a Tudor Submariner from the 1990s. So the auto show in Toronto, I'm not sure. Hey, listen, if there's an invite to go there and someone wants to fly us there, great. If not, I don't plan on being in Toronto in February. Will there be a new Durango? That's a good question. I don't know. I'll have to maybe ask some questions when I get in front of the Stellantis people at the LA show. I'm a big fan of Durango. I think it's a great product. Any changes for the 23 Civic Si? I doubt it. It just came out. Oh, I made it. Whew, gin and tonic, please. I like that. What do you think of the GLB? I was thinking RAV4 hybrid, but waiting time is too much. So the GLB is a really great product. I mean, they did a wonderful job with the packaging on that. It's the GLA, but with a square top on it. Really great drivetrain, 228 horsepower, responsive transmission, loads of fun to drive. It's got good power, especially when you put it in the sports settings. You have the option to get the third row seats. Now, these are not going to be for adults. They're just for kids. But if you need an extra set of seat belts to take an extra kid to activities, that option's there. I like the boxy shape of it. We did a GLB AMG, I would say 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago. It's on the channel. You can watch it. That thing, hands down, was an absolute blast to drive. Now, that one's expensive because it's the AMG, but the same basic principle is there. I'm a big fan of the GLB. And a full electric is going to be showing up at dealers anytime soon. What do you think of Honda's designs on their cars and SUVs? It's turned into be quite conservative. But conservative also has a timeless factor to it. Some of the designs they had, like we have a 2017 Honda Civic with this sharp, angular, swooping kind of look to it. Not going to age. I mean, we bought one because it's a Honda Civic, but it's not the prettiest car on the road, and it's not going to age particularly well. I think the current Civic is better looking. Not sure about this Accord. I'll have to wait until I see it in person. Looks very conservative, but conservative cars seem to age well in place. That's one of the advantages of it. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't miss any other super chats. All right, I think we are all done. It is 5 o'clock. I have barbecue duty today. So if you want to get, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, we'll be back here on Sunday. Next Sunday, we're going to be in California all week long. The videos that are going out this week, Questions, Coffee, and Cars, with Andrea, of course, will be out on Tuesday. Wednesday, it's the new Range Rover full size. And then on Saturday is the Nissan Armada. And then any videos we get done at the LA Auto Show, we'll upload those as quickly as we can. And then the following week, we'll have the new Kia Niro video. We're going down to California to record that, and we will get it. Okay, so we'll get that video out as well. So thanks for watching. We'll talk to you guys again. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you then. Bye now.